Today we're talking about footwork. One of the main factors that set world champions apart from regular fighters is actually footwork. And the best at this is 14-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. So how does he do it? The first thing that you'll notice is DJ is constantly moving. This is a big one because you'll notice a lot of fighters, especially in DJ's era, would just stand still or move around just a tiny bit because they had to. But the champions in the lighter weight classes during DJ's prime had figured out a very important thing about footwork, which is that constant moving makes you way harder to hit. You'll notice DJ is never still for more than a second or two, and even then, he's occupying his opponents with something else like hand fighting. When he's always moving, it makes sense that his opponents will have a harder time shooting on him. Even Henry Cejudo only managed to get a couple of takedowns on him for this exact reason. And he was literally the best wrestler in the world at one point. He's also harder to hit when he's moving. He's only been caught a handful of times in his career, and they're usually because he stopped moving. Look at this clip from the Horiguchi fight where DJ is up towards the fence but doesn't stop moving because that's when he will get caught. And really every step after this only works if you apply this step. It's the baseline for DJ's footwork. But always moving doesn't set you apart. A ton of fighters move around a lot but still get caught. You need to start feinting footwork. Feinting footwork may seem weird for you, but let me explain. When you're moving in the same direction constantly, your opponent will start to realize where you'll be. Then they can start to find holes and opportunities. For you to avoid this, I want you to start switching direction every few seconds. DJ does this in three main ways. He'll either just do a classic direction switch, he'll move to his left but then switch to moving right. Or he'll do in and outs, meaning that he'll enter range, immediately exit when his opponents try to do something, and then enter again. Very quickly, of course. He also does a stutter entry, meaning that he enters, and as his opponent is moving back, he kind of stops for a second and then continues. And without this, your footwork, no matter how good it is, will have patterns and will become too predictable and you'll end up getting caught. My number one tip to improve this is to master your weight distribution. This might literally be the most important thing DJ does with his footwork. Your weight distribution is essentially on which leg you place your weight. It's basically how your stance is structured. For example, in Muay Thai, you'll see a kind of 30 to 70 ratio. Meanwhile, in boxing, it's only 50-50. And in karate, it's like 60-40. All of these have pros and cons. But DJ, however, barely has any problems with his weight distribution. And this is because he mixes the martial arts perfectly. Offensively, you'll see him have a more boxing-like stance with a 50-50 distribution. He can easily move back and forth in a split second using this stance. You'll notice though, in the pocket, he'll have a more Philly shell-like weight distribution, putting a lot of weight on his back leg by kind of pushing off his front leg. This allows him to immediately roll shots and evade. But when he blitzes, he'll use a karate-like distribution to cover space. But in all of these, he can switch in a millisecond to another stance in case he needs it. This comes down to one principle, which is, you are an MMA fighter. You're not a Muay Thai fighter, you're not a wrestler, you're not a boxer. For you to win at the highest level of MMA, you have to be an MMA fighter. So take the good from each of the martial arts and eliminate the bad. Blend the martial arts. Same way you also have to blend stances. You should not be an orthodox fighter. But you should also not be a southpaw. Too many fighters identify as one of those and don't realize that the absolute most skilled fighters in the world do both. DJ is especially great in southpaw. You need to be good in both stances because 1. Most fighters struggle to fight open stance, and 2. The amount of sneaky angles you can take doubles when you have a new stance to work with. This is a game changer for footwork because the new angles also allow you to land more shots on your opponent. He also switches in the finishing sequence against Adriano Moraes. You see DJ land his monster right hand on Moraes, then switch stance, getting close and cutting an angle on him. Another way DJ uses southpaw is when he blitzes. There are two main ways to blitz in MMA. You can either do a GSP blitz, where you kind of jump forward in the same stance, or you can do the DJ blitz, which is when you essentially just run forward switching stances. The stance switching helps you cut off your opponent as well as getting angles to land shots. You can see him using it against Henry Cejudo to cut off the cage when Henry is backing away. If you think about all these things I've told you in this video, and everything I'm going to tell you, doing this step will practically double the amount of things you can do with all of the other steps. The fifth pillar is ring generalship. That's all about how DJ controls the center of the octagon. Whenever DJ has been either pushed to the cage or lost the center, he immediately starts to either circle and regain the middle, or push forward to regain the middle. There are very few exceptions to this. So for you to implement this, you're going to do all 4 things I mentioned before and apply them here. Here you'll see DJ applying all the steps we've talked about. He's switching stances and making sure the weight is distributed so he doesn't get caught while he's blitzing. Look at this exchange right here. Mighty pressures forward, make sure to stay light on the front leg so you can roll shots, keeps Dodson's back to the cage and himself in the center, and when Dodson escapes, DJ doesn't follow. He instead takes the center again. This might seem like a pretty small thing, but hey, Henry Cejudo beat DJ according to the judges because he kept the center of the octagon for most of the fight. It can really be the deciding factor in a close match. But DJ doesn't always keep the center, and in those moments, he's also great on the back foot. His exits are very slick and have never failed him on the feet. A good exit really comes down to how fast and how efficiently you get out of range, and DJ is great at them, because DJ thinks differently about them. A lot of fighters, their exit is backing out of range, but this leads to them being taken down or simply followed. This is what DJ's opponents do. But DJ is always one step ahead, making sure to use a spiral exit. He backs out of range, but then immediately starts to circle in order to not get his back up to the fence. When he's hurt, he also keeps the great exits. Notice in the first round when DJ got hurt, he was immediately up and away from Dodson. And he stays away as long as possible while taking his angles and circling away whenever he gets hurt. A good exit won't win you the fight, but it will make sure you don't lose the fight. It's the small cherry on top that just solidify your defensive footwork to save the day in case you need it. What you gotta keep in mind for your footwork is to constantly move, work in southpaw more, feint movement, and mix the martial arts to take the absolute best from each of them and eliminate the worst in them. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's the longest one yet, so it takes a bit more time to do research and whatnot, but I hope the quality makes up for that. I try to read all your comments, so please comment what you thought or anything you want me to break down in the future.